Last unit we did a lot of factoring, and this unit we are now going to use that factoring and then also other techniques to solve quadratic equations. So just a reminder, a quadratic is anything in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. The big key is if there's an exponent of 2 as your and that's your highest exponent, then it's considered a quadratic equation or expression. So today we're going to talk about how to solve quadratic equations by graphing. Actually very easy, especially if the graph is already given to you. So first off, before we even go into any of the actual graphs, when they say to find your solutions, they might use different terminology to ask you to find solutions. So roots are a synonym of solutions, or zeros. And in any of these cases, when it comes to a graph, if I graph just this part, so I change the 0 to a y equals and graph it, then the solutions, or the roots or the zeros of that graph, are the x-intercepts of the graph. So you can have 1, 2, or no solutions. On my notes, I forgot to put one with no solutions, but a no solution would look like this, where the graph, for instance, on this one, never touches. So here's the x-axis. It's never going to touch the x-axis or cross through it, so there would be no solutions. So let's see how easy this is. So notice the directions right here. It says to solve the equation, so we're finding solutions. Biggest key is to take note of your scale on the x-axis. So the x-axis is right here. In fact, let me highlight it in green. So there's my x-axis. And it's going by 2s, so 2, 4, 6, 8. So I'm going to take note of where it's actually touching the x-axis, so right here and right there. So one of our solutions would be x equals 1, and the other one, if we're going by 2s, that's -2, so that would be -4. That is your answer. You're just telling me where it's actually touching the x-axis. So number 2, same idea. We're going by 1s on this one, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So x is going to equal +2 for that first one, and x equals +3 for the second one. And you're done. So number 3, same idea once again. This one's a little trickier because the scale factor is going by 2 and it seems pretty squished. But you've got 2 solutions right there. You've got x equals 2 is probably the easy one to see. And the other one's halfway between, so we're going to say x equals 1. See, nothing too shabby. All right, so same idea for all of these. So you're looking at the x-axis. Notice how the directions have changed. It's the big thing I want you to take note. So if I say to solve the equations, and then I also tell you to find the zeros, it means exact same thing. So in this case, x is going to equal, well, it looks like our scale is going by just 1, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be x equals 0 and x equals 1 for this one. So notice how often we have 2 solutions. This next one is a good one to see because sometimes you just get one solution that touches the x-axis. In this case, just x equals 1 because it's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And then this last one, just another one that's got 2. So you got 1 and 3. This goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So x equals 1, x equals 3. Now, they're not always going to be right on integer answers like those ones. So here's some that ask you to approximate the zeros. So you're just going to kind of roughly, so you're still going to look at your scale factor and then kind of roughly guesstimate where they would go. So like this first one isn't quite halfway, so I might say like that one's 0.4. I just do to the 10th place because that's what they ask you for. So don't do anything too crazy. And then this one looks like it may be a little over 2.5, so I'm going to say 2.6. So just get a rough approximation, and as long as your answer is pretty close to what I have, you're good. So like this one, these two we've got, they were going by 1, so this is 1, 2, 3, this is -1, and -2. So this one over here would be negative 1 point, we'll say 2. And then over here, I'll say it's about 2.2. So there are the two answers. And then last but not least, we'll do this one, same idea. So it looks like we're going by 1. So -1, -2, -3, and then -4. Good. So I'm going to say this first one on the far right, I'm going to say is -2.2. And then this one, so this is -5, so -6, I'm going to say is -5.8, approximately. So there it is.